welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're here with another traditional block that we're going to have some fun with today. I'm calling this Goslings with Parents. Now this is a twist on a traditional block that we see, and I thought, well, will be fun. It's going to finish at 7 inches, so it's unfinished at 7.5. But before we go into this, the PDF pattern is going to be in the show notes below. I want to talk to you about another mother-daughter, and it's called From the Fabric Patch. Now, Cindy and Brenda have been running that quilt store for a while, and they get together and they show all sorts of beautiful fabric. They also get into making blocks, and I know Cindy was doing Play-Doh with her grandchildren. Like, she was doing all sorts of things, different things that were in there that were just lovely. Plus they have their mother-daughter chats and they talk about all sorts of wonderful things. It's like visiting with two friends. So they don't know this shout out's coming to them, and it's a surprise. So if you go over there and you like what you see, tell them that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, and this way they can be pleasantly surprised. Okay, the other thing you're going to find in the show notes, besides their YouTube channel and the pattern for Goslings with Parents, is going to be the Facebook group where we're having all sorts of fun, and we're using the virtual sewing rooms, and we're doing fabric swaps, and we're sharing pictures and all sorts of fun stuff like that, asking questions. You know, it's great, wonderful community that is there, very welcoming, very warm. The other thing is going to be, the last thing is going to be your Zoom sew date. So if you're not part of Facebook and you don't want to be part of Facebook, you can still join us on the virtual sew date on Zoom that happens once a month. Now those dates are going to be listed out from now until the end of December, and when we get into December we'll list out the next year, so that you'll be prepared and you'll know the dates, and then you can come up with, okay, this is what we're going to do on these dates, and we can sit and come and join and chat and have a great time. You never know who you're going to meet. It's a very international community there. There's ladies from Russia, and there's been ladies from Sweden and Germany and Australia, New Zealand, and Chile. It's been a wonderful crew. So the other thing, please like, share, and subscribe. Comments help drive our analytics. And even if all you can do is put a heart, that helps us out so much to push us forward. If you share, you help us introduce us to other people that you know, and that also is good. Now, last, I'm still giving free speaking engagements, right? So if your guild, or if you know of a guild that needs some help with their speakers or their monthly speakers, please let them know I'm free. I do them on Zoom so that it keeps the cost down for the guild, because they only have to pay for the one Zoom thing, and it keeps my costs down too, right? So it's kind of like, you know, let's save as much money as we can for these people. Okay, so let's come on in. We got to get to this beautiful sewing here. Okay, now here's the PDF. I printed off just one thing. It is going to finish at 7 inches, so it's 7.5 inches unfinished. So now I just used a stitch marker, or seam marker, and I've marked the back. And I'm hoping you can see that. Can you see that? So all the lines I can see now from the back. It also makes this much easier to fold, right? So what I'm going to do is the LVs, the ones that say LV or low volume, and you can make this as scrappy as you want. It's all good. Now, if I'm doing a lot of these, what I do is I put a low volume face up, and this piece is way too big, but don't worry about it. And I put a piece face up with a bit of glue, right? Just because I can. But because I'm only doing one, I'm going to do a little pin just to hold it in place, right? Now, that will help for a bit here. So now I'm just going to fold over so I get two nice and out in the open. Now it's even hard, okay, right there. So this is garbage, these little bits around here. Now I'm just going to fold 3 just so I can get the other one cut on the other side, just to move this along just a little quicker. And once we get into the psychedelic snowflake, I am suggesting that people get at least 2 at an intermediate level before, you know, they go too far into that psychedelic snowflake, because that one could be really hard without being at least at an intermediate. Now because those pieces are really small, like 2, 3, 4, and 5 are really, they're tiny, right? So I'm picking stuff that looks more solid, because a pattern would be lost. But you can do whatever you would like. And I just made 4. Now where's 2? Okay. So I'm just going to lay this down like so. Make sure that it's the right side. And I've got the wrong foot. I don't like a 1/4 inch foot on when I'm doing this, so I will get a standard foot. Now I got this as a universal, and it's a slant shank, and on Amazon, and it works beautifully. I do still have the original foot, but this one works lovely. So I'm just going to flip this and hold it, and I'm going to get this out. I'm going to pull it way out because I'm right in the middle of this. Okay. And I'm going to make sure everything's still lined up. I'm just peeking under the paper just to take a hair. Okay, now go. Here. There we go. Now, that seam right there is a 1/4, or here, let me get it a little closer to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. That seam right there is a little on the thin side, right? But it's okay, it's going to hold. Don't worry about it. It's going to hold. You haven't done anything wrong, it's fine. We're just going to flip this over. Okay. People get so upset with what they've done in the back. It's amazing when you stop and you just, okay, no, it's going to be fine. It'll work. You take that attitude. Okay, again, make sure you haven't flipped anything, like your points on your little blue triangle. Okay, when we go down, there we go. Pull it out. And what you're doing is one at a time. Now, somewhere along the line, this twisted, right? But that happens. So this center piece, the white, has twisted just a bit, and it probably twisted when I put the pin in. This is why I use glue, right? And it's just Elmer's school glue. And if you go to the office supply stores in August here in Canada, I know you might have to go sooner if you're in the States, depending on what time of year your kids start school. It's the perfect time to pick up those big packs. And you have all of this now, Elmer's school glue for whatever project you're doing, and it works beautifully. But I don't worry about those little itty bitty seams. If it's more than 1/8 of an inch, it's probably okay, right? But that's what twisted my fabric, right? Is that I put that in. But, you know, it happens, but I've got 1/8 of an inch, so I'm okay, and I wanted you to see that. I'm glad it happened, because sometimes I'm hoping, well, I hope this, you know, I make a mistake here so I can show you how to fix it. It doesn't happen. Okay, let's do 4, and 4 goes like this. Now, when you're doing smaller pieces like that, you flip from this side, and you make sure that you can see both corners of your little triangle that you just added on that has not been sewn. And you only go 1/4 of an inch past, and you pull it out. Okay. And there we go. And the last piece goes on. Now, if I was doing like a fancy show quilt or something, like I would do, you know, like if I was going to do like 100 or something like these squares or whatever, or 200 or as many as I needed for a big quilt, I would do all of, like, sew all of 2 to 1 first, and then iron them, and then trim them, right? Just so it would all that would be done. Let me just make sure I've got it. Oh, yes, it does. It looks okay. There we go. Right? Because that's how you know, that's how the efficiency is. Okay, you do the same one thing, and then you go to the next. Right, there we go. Now, but you know that we're just finger pressing, because ironing and all. Now this is a very tiny little white square in there, right? So now, when we're doing 6 and 7, we're going to do 6 and 7. We're just going to quickly do that. I'm going to do 7 first, because that's the side to head up. And that tracing wheel trick works brilliant. That just works so great. I just cannot tell you how easy it is to have all of this going the right direction. Okay, but this is how you handle tinier piecing. And it's okay if you manhandle your paper. It's all going to come off anyways. It's not like you're... Okay, let's get 6 and 7 done. Now 6 and 7 are straights. They're straight pieces, and I check from the front. This is a trick. If I want to use just a little scrap, I want to make sure I have good quarter on either side of the mark, which I do. So this center, this piece will get this. Okay, so I just put that on, hold it under. Okay, make sure both sides are, yep, everything's lying flat. Put my foot down and go across. There we go. See, I love crumb boxes. I love doing stuff like this with the getting my crumbs used up. This is the perfect way of doing it. And if I wanted to check now to make sure that that piece covers, I just hold it up. I fold it back like that, and I hold it up to a light, and I can see I've got, you know, good, more than a 1/4 inch. I've probably got like 1/2 inch there, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to do the same to the other side, in the same fabric, because I have it handy, but you can use whatever scraps you have. It's all good. I've got my crumb boxes out here to pull little bits and pieces from, so I mean, that's my favorite way to use crumbs, is just do tiny paper piecing and just move it out of my sewing room that way. You know, there we go. And now with that, I've got the corners. I haven't sawed off my corners. I haven't done anything. It looks great. So let's move on to the next step. Let's get the first gosling on. It's like these 4 little ones are like the runts of the litter. The little runts. Okay, so, okay, here we go. Now, okay. I think this would have been really cute if we had all the goslings a different color, but I've got the blue bin, crumb bin out, and the white bin, because I'm overrun with blue. Oh my goodness, I have so many blues. But I love blue, which is okay. And I am thinking about starting, I don't know, a series where that's all we do is blues or something like that. Ooh, let's work with these. Here's a good navy. There's another good navy. Is that big enough? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ooh. Okay. Okay, here we go. Is it all flat? Yes, it is. Okay. Now, this block is going to take a bit to get done, as you can see, because there's like, what, 27 pieces. I'm not going to make you endure all 27, because once you get past the little bits, the tiniest bits, this comes together faster. It's fine. It's not a hard block. Okay. There we go. Now I've also turned up my stitches to almost 35 stitches, or 30, yeah, I'm at 30 stitches per inch because I want my anywhere from 25 to 30 stitches an inch because you want that needle perforating the paper. Now if you were doing a really big paper piecing thing, you know what, you would almost have to start with a fresh needle, and then at the end of the project or somewhere near the middle you would have to change it. You don't have 8-hour wear time on a needle when you've got it for using it for paper piecing. You simply don't. Now I'm going to cut the other sides too, just to get them all ready to go. Here we go. Get that. There. Nice. And we might as well do the other side as well. So we're here just trimming off the excess bits that we don't need on both sides. Like once you get all of that, I mean, it's on the board, you might as well trim it, right? It's like if it was on the ironing board, you iron all of the fabric. It's kind of where my brain goes to. Whoops, did I? Yes? Yeah, okay. That's where my brain goes to. You iron it all. Just, you don't necessarily need just the one little piece. You might as well go. So this is what it looks like now. So let's go find some, we want to find some lighter bits. Okay. Okay. So we're at 10. So we want to put 10 here. Okay. Put 10 here and make sure that 10 gets a good light covering. So now you just hold it in place, flip it over, slide it under your needle, make sure everything's still lying flat because things flip. And if they flip, you only unpick the part that's flipped. If I make a mistake on this today doing this, I'll show you. We'll film it. But I'm not going to intentionally make a mistake because I'm not a masochist. Okay, so 10 is there. I bet you anything I can get 11 out of that piece. Probably I could. No, I'll leave it. That's fine. Okay. Okay, let's get... There we go. Let's get that on there. Okay. And 11. See, now it's just a matter of, it'll sew a bunch of it. Oops, it slipped. Hang on. It slipped out of the way. Okay. Put it back. Slip it under. Make sure it's all there. Yes, it is. Okay. There. Ooh. Well, that was strange. Just about, my top thread just about shredded and broke off. Okay, so there we are. Now, the marking the numbers are kind of arbitrary. You know, I would go, like, if I was working, depending on how I felt, I would work all one side and then work the other side. But because I've laid it out where it's going to be symmetrical, you know, then you kind of stick with the symmetrical thing, you know. Well, it goes this way. Okay. Well, I've got another piece to make it symmetrical. Okay. And it's down. Everything's good. Go forward. Okay, now with this too, you'll notice I'm building out from the center, and that's pretty much the way I prefer to do things. Build it out from the center. But You know, you can, okay, let me just finish this one. I'll explain to you what I would do next, because I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. There. Okay. So here we are. We've got the next goose, right? And now I'm going to trim off straight. Now I don't touch these edges until I get to the other goose. So I'll show you what I mean. So what I do is I flip it over, and so 10 and 11 are done. So now I'm going to flip this like so and trim it across. And no, these triangles are too small. They're too small. They've got too big a print on them. And I would trim across these. Because 9 is done, so I'm going to do 15 as well. Right? Across. Okay? This fabric was really nice to work with. I was so happy when I saw that in my donation. Now, so I'm putting 14, 15 on next. But I don't take this off. I could rough trim it if I wanted to, like these ends, but I leave that trimming for, piece 22 and 23, because then at that point I've got, good, I've got a good base here as I'm moving out, right? So, I'm going to find two, brighter blues, like this, if they're big enough. No, they're not. Okay, so I'm going to find two brighter blues and make sure that they go in next, so I've got some good coverage. I'm going to try and keep some symmetry, but if I don't, I don't. It's all fine. None of this is big enough. Ooh, this might be big enough. Is it big enough for two? No, but this is. This is, no, it's not big, but it would be big enough. It will cut this way. There. Yeah, mother of invention, necessity. So, I'm going to lay them out like this, right? The next ones, right? So, I'm just going to keep going. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep moving forward on this, and I'll show you at the end, and I'll show you what the back looks like. But this I would leave untrimmed until I get to the larger triangles. Okay, so we'll meet you back here in a bit. Okay, this is our ta-da moment on Gosling and their parents. This is a foundation paper piece pattern that you'll find in the show notes below. It's very, very simple to do. And I wanted to be more respectful of your time. It didn't take long for me to do the rest of the block because the pieces are so much bigger, right? So anyways, we have the runts of the litter inside, the wee tiny little ducklings, and then the bigger ducklings or goslings on the outside. Now this is a take on traditional, goslings in a row or whatever that has been around for like forever. But I thought, well, let's play with this. Let's have some fun because this is such a cool little block to play with. I did keep the colors symmetrical because I was able to out of my crumb box. So this all of this came out of my crumb box. But I keep my crumbs hand size, so I do get some bigger pieces. So, I hope you give this one a try. This was a lot of fun. It finishes at 7 and it's unfinished at 7.5. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun to do. And it was a good one to do a bunch of. You could do a bunch of them. But anyways, you take care until we meet each other again. I hope you have an absolutely amazing week ahead. And I hope you're having fun with whatever you're doing in your sewing room. Okay, take care. All right, bye. My husband and I would love to thank you for all of the amazing people that we have met along this crazy YouTube adventure that we've been having. We do free speaking engagements too, so if you're part of a guild and they're looking for, people to talk and, and chat with, in their monthly meetings, tell them that I'm doing free ones just to help the guilds out because it's been a tough time for the guilds as well. Share, like, and subscribe with your friends. Make sure that they're, they get the word out on us. That's the best way you can do to help us out. So until we meet again, I want to thank you. Okay, goodbye.